What does it take to build something the entire world said was impossible? Not just tall, impossibly tall. A structure so extreme that standard physics stops working. Where the wind loads at the upper floors are strong enough to push a lesser building sideways by meters. Where the heat cracks ordinary concrete. Where the saltwater air destroys standard glass within 5 years. In 2018, the West looked at this project and walked away. 7 years. 50-degree desert heat. A half-finished 1-kilometer tower just standing there. Rusting. Waiting. An architectural ghost on the shore of the Red Sea. And when Saudi Arabia finally decided it was time to finish what it started, it didn't call the Europeans back. It didn't call the Americans. It called 3 Chinese companies most of the world has never heard of. Those 3 companies are the reason the world's tallest building will actually exist. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why this changes everything. For decades, the blueprint for extreme-scale construction was written in the West. Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, the American firm behind the Burj Khalifa, defined what super-tall architecture looked like. Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill Architecture, also American, won the original design contract for the Jeddah Tower itself. The structural engineering consultancy? Thornton Tomasetti. New York. The construction management framework? Global Western standards applied to a Saudi desert. This was the accepted model. You want to build something historically significant, you hire the firms that built the last historically significant thing. You use the materials and methods that have worked before. You price in the risk. You execute. It worked for 50 years. The Sears Tower, the Petronas Towers, the Burj Khalifa. Every record-breaking structure was a Western intellectual product, manufactured on-site by regional labor, financed by sovereign wealth. Then, in April 2013, Saudi Arabia broke ground on the Jeddah Tower. $1.2 billion. One singular goal: become the first building in human history to break the 1-kilometer mark. At 1,008 meters, it would stand 180 meters taller than the Burj Khalifa. Not just the world's tallest building, an entirely new category of architecture. For 4 years, the skeleton rose, floor by floor above the Red Sea coastline. But that's not the whole story. January 2018. Everything stopped. The project's primary financier, Saudi Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, was arrested in the kingdom's sweeping anti-corruption purge. Saudi Binladin Group, the main contractor, was implicated in the investigation. Workers walked off. Contracts expired. And there it stood. 170,000 cubic meters of concrete. 80,000 tons of steel. 1/3 of a skyscraper. Frozen in the desert. For 7 years, the Jeddah Tower stood as the world's most expensive construction failure. A monument to ambition that outran execution. Then something shifted. September 2023. Saudi Arabia quietly sent out a request for proposals. The question was simple: who can actually finish this? European firms ran the cost models and hesitated. They looked at the environment: saltwater corrosion off the Red Sea, sandstorms that strip standard coatings, 50-degree heat that causes thermal deformation in standard steel, and started requesting risk premiums that made the numbers structurally impossible. American contractors cited supply chain complexity, geopolitical exposure, the premium cost of flying specialized Western labor into a region increasingly difficult to operate in. And this is where the West made its fatal mistake. January 2025, Jeddah Tower officially restarted construction. 1 floor every 3 to 4 days. And embedded at the core of this project were 3 Chinese companies with technology the West didn't have and wasn't willing to develop. Now, before we go further, consider this. The bottom 25 floors of the Jeddah Tower require steel plates 180 millimeters thick, nearly 8 inches of solid steel. Standard welding at that thickness, at height, in extreme heat, creates thermal deformation, microscopic warping that compounds with every floor added. At 1 kilometer of height, a weld deviation of just 1 millimeter at the base could mean a deviation of meters at the top. Most engineers in the world look at that problem and price in a margin of error. They accept that imperfection is unavoidable at this scale. But wait, it gets worse. This isn't the hardest part of building the Jeddah Tower. The structural challenges above 500 meters, an altitude no occupied building in history has ever reached, introduce forces so extreme that the materials science required to survive them essentially had to be invented. Standard structural steel doesn't perform at those altitudes. Wind loads generate lateral forces that would stress standard joints beyond tolerance. Thermal expansion cycles at that height function differently than anything tested before. So, who solved it? 3 companies. And the way they solved it is the story the engineering world isn't telling loudly enough. The first company, Changjiang Precision Industry. Their mandate: handle the ultra-thick steel welding at the tower's foundation. But they didn't just meet the engineering brief. They built fully automated welding equipment from scratch, purpose-engineered for this specific project. And they achieved a weld qualification rate of 99.97%. In an industry where 95% is considered exceptional, 99.97 is effectively a new world record. The West is scrambling to understand how that number is even possible. The second company, Jeddah Group. If you've ever seen the Beijing Bird's Nest Stadium, that iconic steel lattice facade, you've already seen their work. In June 2025, Jeddah won a SAR 1.05 billion contract, $280 million US, to design and install every square meter of the Jeddah Tower's glass facade. Their solution: a modular curtain wall system purpose-built for a coastal desert environment. It resists the corrosive saltwater air that destroys standard glass systems within 5 years. And it reduces the tower's total energy consumption by 30%. At a building this size, that's tens of millions of dollars in annual operational savings, built directly into the skin of the structure. Most people have no idea this is already happening. The third company, Hunan Xianggang. Their role is arguably the most critical of all. Above 500 meters, Hunan Xianggang's high-performance structural steel alloy is the material that makes the upper half of this tower physically possible. No Western supplier had a product qualified for the specific combination of altitude stress, thermal cycling, and wind load at this scale. Hunan Xianggang didn't adapt an existing product. They developed the material specifically to solve a problem the rest of the industry had never confronted at this altitude. Here's the picture. One Chinese company building the bones at the base, one wrapping the skin across every floor, one engineering the structural skeleton above 500 meters. Together, they've assembled a complete vertical supply chain for the most complex construction project our civilization has ever attempted. And Western construction firms aren't just watching, they are behind by a decade, and catching up is nearly impossible when the proof of concept is being built in real time, at scale on one of the world's most visible projects. But here's what most people are completely missing. Jeddah Tower is not a lucky contract win, it is the most visible data point in a systematic strategy that has been building for over a decade. Look at Jeddah Group's history in Saudi Arabia specifically. Before the Jeddah Tower, they built the curtain wall for Jeddah King Abdulaziz International Airport. Jeddah Railway Station, the Capital Market Authority Tower in Riyadh. This is not a company that stumbled onto the world's most high-profile construction project. This is a company that patiently built its Saudi portfolio, project by project, until it was the only logical choice for the biggest contract in the kingdom. The economic data confirms the scale of the shift. In 2025, China-Saudi Arabia trade in building materials and engineering services increased 12% year-on-year. 12%. In a single year. While Western construction firms are declining in the region, Chinese firms are accelerating. Saudi economist Ahmed Fahd was direct about why. He stated that the technological reliability and cost control capability of Chinese enterprises are precisely the support Saudi Arabia needs during its current infrastructure expansion. Western firms carry 3 structural disadvantages in this market. They are expensive, they are slow to adapt to extreme environment engineering, and they carry geopolitical complexity that adds procurement risk to every contract they touch. Chinese firms enter with mature technology proven on landmark projects, competitive pricing that Western firms structurally cannot match, and a track record in extreme environments stretching from the Tibetan Plateau to the Arabian Peninsula. By 2030, analysts project that Chinese firms will hold the primary structural contracts on over 60% of all ultra-tall construction projects across the Gulf Cooperation Council. That number was unthinkable in 2015. It is the trajectory of 2025. This is the Belt and Road Initiative at its most sophisticated. No political press conferences, no diplomatic announcements, just engineering contracts, embedding Chinese capability deeper into the infrastructure of the world's fastest-growing construction markets. Floor by floor, project by project. Now ask yourself the question the engineering world is quietly asking. Jeddah Tower is 1,008 meters. Saudi Arabia is already planning Rise Tower in Riyadh, a proposed structure at 2,000 meters. 2 full kilometers into the sky. A building so extreme that the engineering solutions required to construct it don't yet fully exist. Maglev elevators instead of cables. Foundation systems requiring entirely new materials science. Concrete pumped to heights that would break every current record by a factor of 3. When that request for proposals goes out, and it will, who gets the call? The companies that looked at the Saudi desert in 2023 and decided the cost was too high? Or the 3 Chinese firms currently building the first kilometer-tall structure in human history? On schedule, at budget, in 50-degree heat, on the shore of the Red Sea? China's construction footprint in the Middle East isn't just growing, it is becoming structurally irreplaceable. The technology stack that Changjiang Precision, Zhonghe, and Hunan Xianggang have developed on Jeddah Tower doesn't disappear when this building is finished. It becomes the template, the proof of concept, the reference portfolio that makes every future ultra-tall project in the region a Chinese conversation. First, do you think Western construction firms can reclaim their position in this market, or has the window already closed? Drop your answer below, because the engineers I've spoken to are not optimistic. When the Jeddah Tower is completed in 2028, millions of tourists will ride the world's fastest double-deck elevators to the highest observation deck in history, 638 meters above the Red Sea. Most of them will never know that the glass beneath their feet was engineered by a company from Beijing that also built the bird's nest, that the steel holding them above 500 meters came from Hunan province, or that the welds connecting the structure below them were laid by machines built specifically for this tower, at a qualification rate the construction world has never seen before. The world's most iconic building is quietly becoming a made-in-China project. That's not a story the Western press is interested in telling, but it is the story that explains exactly where the next decade of global construction is headed. When Saudi Arabia needed someone to do the impossible, it didn't call the companies who built the last record. It called the companies building the next one. If this is the kind of video you came here for, the real forces reshaping the world's most ambitious projects, subscribe. Because there are a lot more stories like this one. And we're going to find every single one of them.